Say, I said, welcome to the broadcast. I'm looking real crazy. Been putting in a lot of work. Let me check my nose, make sure you ain't got no, what I'm saying, friendly situations. You know what I'm saying? It's really be like, never mind. Anyway, I'm not finna go into all that. All right, so today's lesson, I'm going to explain to you the afterlife and in the life afterlife, how the afterlife works. All right, so we're going to be discussing the periodic table of nitrogen. Okay. And within nitrogens, there's a certain crystal structures. And nitrogen is what creates orbits. Okay. Everybody has uh, uh, two. Okay. Before you are born into the canal of your mother's womb, you have, as the aliens, or so to say, they have carbon and then they have hydrogen. Okay, when you are born and you receive a vessel, no, you have carbon and nitrogen. When you are born and you receive a vessel, you have hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen. Okay, now, group is of the, okay, so this is how it works. Now, people don't pass away and they only go into the afterlife. And I'm going to attempt to explain using physics theory and magic theory how all of this works. So, people never pass away. And how you can tell is you have to get into extreme sunlight and you have to have a camera and you can be able to see the orbits. Now, once you take a picture and you see the orbits, I'm going to explain to you what orbits mean and where they come from. Okay? So everything that has weight, okay, so oxygen is how you transport from the stellar gate unto the Earth star chakra is by oxygen. That's how you transport. All right, so everything has weight that takes up space has volume. Okay, so if it takes up space, it has no volume, that produces nothing. Okay, volume is everything. Volume is the amount of space that occupies. Okay, solid, liquid, and gas. That's where that solid, so solid, liquid, and gas. Okay, which is basically the mark of the beast, the three sixes. Plasma, Fermi and condensized Boyce, the Boyce Einstein condiments. Okay, change of state, fixed volume, substance, souls from gas to water vapor, and heat makes it strong. Okay, so plasma can conduct energy as well. It is a form of gas. So plasma is a form of gas, but plasma also adds to bone marrow. Okay, this is also embryo mythology. All right, so plasma is very important because plasma is a form of gas. All right, so are all plasmas the same? That's a good question. All right, that's one thing. All plasma is not the same. Some plasmas are different from other plasmas based on your DNA structure and people have different crystal structures, which is the DNA structure. Okay, so you have three fluorescent lights, electricity, or the different color of orbits. So orbits come in red, green, or blue. This is called the one plasma pixel. All right, Democrites, atom means cut off chemical reactions. So there's 118 element compounds in that particular section. Okay. So in the Bohr model of the atom, which is basically this right here is the Bohr model of the atom. Okay, in the Bohr model of the atom, electrons circle the nucleus the same way that the planet orbits the sun. So you have negative electrons are attracted to positive nucleus, all right? It takes energy to move an electron away from the nucleus to an outer circle. So negative electrons are attracted to positive nucleus, okay? So when you're positive, people read off of that. So you're going to attract negative electrons, okay, or negative energy, okay? The eyeball is of the nucleus to your brain that holds information from different electrons. When the body is placed in the number of the plot, it is the grave. Okay, so this is how it works. When your body is placed into a plot or into the grave, it's supposed to decoil or decay and go back into the Earth star. When you lose and go back into the Earth star, when your vessel is expired, what happens is you are losing your hydrogen, oxygen, okay? And all you have is carbon and nitrogen, okay? So, the circle where electrons orbit are referred to as energy level of shells or shells. Electrons in the outermost circles have higher energy since it requires more effort to pull electrons to a greater distance from the nucleus. The energy level are numbered as 1, 2, and 3. Okay? Energy levels are called principal quantum numbers. All right? The energy is N is used to represent the energy level. Principal quantum numbers. The smallest the number, the closer the energy level is to the nucleus. So if you wanted to bring somebody to you to use this in a love spell, you would lower the number so that you would bring them closer to you. To send them away, you will raise the number. All right. The basis of the larger the number, the further away you move from the energy level that is the closest to the nucleus, a value of n equals 1, okay, which we will talk about later. This is n equals 1 right here. So when you raise the n equals 1, this adds more layers to your orbits, okay? Every shell has an electron and a proton, okay? So the maximum number of electrons to the model. So what you do is you have the lines, you have 4. You start with the nucleus, then you have 4 layers, okay? Now these are shells. These are now protons, okay? Electrons that go on the energy level of the layers of the shell, okay? So the first shell has 2 electrons, the second has 8, the third has 18, and the fourth has 32. Okay, but there is a total of 18 layers that you can have total. Okay, I believe. All right, so which brings us to why the fourth part of a circle is also a square. Okay, so within each level are sub-levels. Okay, so you have levels and then you have sub-levels. Now, the sub-levels are labeled S, P, D, and F. All right, so you have sub-levels. So you have the layers right here. You have the layers, and now you have sub-levels. So within the sub-levels are where the orbits rest within the sub-levels. So you have energy levels, sub-levels, and orbits. Okay, energy level, sub-levels, and orbits. Okay, this is the final resting place of electrons or orbits. So when a person passes away and they are lowered into the Earth's chakra, they become an orbit because they lose their which brings us back to they lose their hydrogen and their oxygen. Okay, the only thing that you keep when your vessel is placed into the grave, the only thing that you keep is the carbon and your nitrogen. Your carbon and your nitrogen never goes away. Okay, nitrogen is what a star is made up of. So everybody that has nitrogen that is lowered into the grave becomes a star. Okay, your star is in the sky. So when you look up at the sky, which is the oxygen, all right, of the planet Earth, you become that star. How you become that star is through nitrogen. Okay? Now, the nitrogen system works as follows. So the layers are broken down like this into layers, sublevels. Okay? These are the orbits. The more you increase your energy, the more layers you get. Okay? These are broken down into subnet level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. When you get to level 4, these are all your ancestors. Now, all your ancestors are located in your what is called the soul chakra. Okay, so you have your crown chakra, you have your casual chakra, your crown chakra, your casual chakra, and soul chakra, and your stellar gate chakra. Now, your casual chakra is the moon. So you have your crown and your moon, which is connected to the sun, which gives you energy to be able to grow. Okay, that's why when you're out of your mother's womb, they have to adjust your eyes to the sunlight, because out of top you're born into darkness. When that light is embraced in you and you receive that energy from the sun, you will now have light. Okay, the more your energy level is raised by meditation, your third eye opens up, which is your sixth sense. So it opens up, which is your sixth sense, which opens up more layers. What you have, which has your ancestors, which are your orbits. Okay, so 2 electrons in each orbit. Can orbits occupy? Okay, so if electrons can't occupy orbits. So on Earth, as a Earth star chakra, you are electrons. Okay, every atom has electrons in it, and that's 2. Okay, and 2 electrons are in each orbit. So when the orbit is raised from the Earth chakra into the stellar gate, or your soul chakra receives orbit, you become a part of that orbit. So whoever is before you, you become a part of that orbit within the next generation. These are where your generations come from. Each orbit is matched or paired by DNA. So when you're born into Earth, you receive a date of birth. This is your date of entry. When you are pass away or you lose your vessel, your passing date is the date of entry into your soul chakra or castle chakra, and hopefully eventually you'll receive access to the stellar gateway chakra, which is a door, which is heaven, which is Matthew 3:7, knock, seek, search, and yet find. Okay, so if electrons can get into orbits, okay, electrons can get into orbits. Those certain electrons that can get into orbits is how mediumship is done. Mediumship channeling is the ability for an electron to be able to receive, to get into an orbit without losing any carbon or without losing any hydrogen or oxygen. So channeling or mediumship is the ability of an electron to be able to become an orbit and to get into the layer without losing hydrogen or oxygen. Okay, because most atoms can only become an orbit only after losing hydrogen and oxygen. Channeling is to be able to call orbits into an electron to pull other orbits, more than 2 orbits, into one electron while still maintaining hydrogen and oxygen. Okay? If electrons can get into orbits, mediumship channeling, if the orbit's ability to see orbits at a lower plane. Okay, is the ability, mediumship channeling is also the ability to see orbits into a lower plane. So when people die or they lose the lack of ability to be able to have oxygen or hydrogen, all they still have is their nitrogen. So if you can see a person's nitrogen, because you can see a person's casual and soul star, which is above their crown chakra. Okay, and how you do that is you have to work on your chakras. You have to meditate through your root chakra, your sacral chakra, because all of those are points and sound waves that are measured, points that are measured by sound waves. So the more you increase your sound waves, the more you are able to see orbits without losing oxygen or hydrogen. Now, I'm going to stop this video, this lesson right here. But this is a model of how it works, okay? Because when electrons occupy orbits, they spin on their axis, okay? So when electrons occupy the orbits, they spin on its axis, okay? So you still keep spinning. In order to be raised in order to be raised and from being lowered, you still keep spinning. You still have to keep spinning. It still keeps spinning and spinning and spinning. Nobody stops spinning. Everybody who passes away only loses hydrogen and oxygen, which means that you can still see a person's nitrogen because it is connected to their crown chakra, their casual chakra, their casual chakra, their soul chakra, and their stellar gate chakra. There's a gate. It's called the stellar gate. The stellar gate is occupied and protected, that has keys to access the door. Gates have doors that's locked, okay, to get past. So the clouds are your soul chakra, is where all spirits are maintained. To get to the stellar gate, you have to have the keys, okay? It goes energy level, sub-level, and then orbits, okay? All those, that mediumship are able to have energy level, sub-level, and orbit while still maintaining all four elements of the periodic table: hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen, okay? The Matthew, which brings us to Matthew 7:7. Okay, not the doors in heaven. What door? How many doors? Okay, what door? Which one is the door? All right, so this is the door. Okay, that's the door. The crown chakra is the door or the stairway, the stellar gateway. Matthew 7:7 explains how that is the stellar gateway, is the door. And how you get to that door is by meditation, which raises your energy level, because the chakras have measures or sound called measurements of hertz. So God works at a brain frequency, which we will explain in the part 2 of this video, which will be how stems communicate to each other. Okay, the sun and the moon and the earth's energy are the electrons. Okay, what is this? Okay, there are 7 shells total. So we're going to end that part 1 here on me explaining the afterlife. And why is it called the afterlife? It's just simply the stellar gateway. We all are connected by our chakras. The earth is a chakra. The earth star chakra is a chakra. So you are raised, okay, by your sound, echo, waves, okay? And I will explain that in part 2 of this video, and we will stop here. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe. The title of this video is Death Explained Using Science and Magic. Right here on The Magical Magician. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.